Hello everyone. Today is Monday, May 14th, 2018. This is the YOSHICAST. My name is Yoshi and today is the first episode of Bag and Board. Yoshi! So I've been a little inspired by watching people's Wednesday comic book hauls on YouTube, and I kind of wanted to join in. Now, I have a pull list at my local comic book store, but I don't have anything near the numbers of books that a lot of people on YouTube do. So I figured what I would do is just try this out for a couple episodes. As I get books, bag and board them with you here on YouTube. So these books I've gotten over the course of last weekend. Some of them from my local comic book shop, some of them from secondhand shops in town, and some of them came in through the mail that I ordered online. And let's get started with book number one. So book number one is going to be Justice League No Justice, issue number one. This is a fairly new book, came out last week, I believe. My local comic book shop had one of these on the shelf left in really good condition, so I picked it up. I like to bag and board my books with E. Gerber products. Specifically for these books, I'm going to be using E. Gerber fullback boards, as well as E. Gerber's My Light 2s, which are Mylar bags 2 millimeters thick. I started using these because I'm one of those people that's really paranoid about his collection. Doesn't want anything bad to happen to it, wants to take really good care of it. These bags, I've learned a lot with these bags. Apparently the standard bags that you normally get really cheap from comic book stores or online, and the boards that they come with, you know, by all means I use these to get out of the store safely, but for archival purposes, if you're planning on keeping this book for over 7 years, over 10 years, these things aren't going to cut it. Recently, I've been going through my own personal comic book collection and upgrading everything to these Mylar bags, and I have found in taking the books out of the bags that like the copy on the back of the book is actually imprinting on the board. That can't be good. You're losing ink, I would imagine, that way. And a lot of the bags have yellowed over time. So these My Light bags, which I've been using for well over 10 years, they're archival grade. You're not supposed to need to replace them for 100 years, which is great for those of us who are paranoid like myself. They also allow you to display your books with a little more confidence. Of course, you should never put your books in front of a window in direct light in any way whatsoever, but I can display my books in these bags and boards and not worry about them fading. So that's a lot of confidence, and I like that a lot in these. So what I'll do for anybody that's interested is I'll include links at the bottom of the video here of where I got my my bags and boards and the tape I use. This is archival artist's tape. It's acid free. It's not gonna seep through Mylar bags. You'll find, especially in older books, if you're ever digging through bins, that the tape has the glue of the tape has actually affected the plastic, and sometimes affected the book. It's actually eaten through the plastic sleeve that the books are in, and ruin the book. So that's why I use archival artist tape. That's why I use these bags and boards now, and have been using them for well over 10 years. So Justice League No Justice is a front and back blank book. I'm starting to see these more and more. These are more and more common. Marvel's been doing them for quite a long time. I don't really own that many DC books that are blanks, but I'm finding that more and more they're becoming front and back blank covers. And I've gotten some, or I have a couple of books, front and black blanks that I've had drawn on by artists at conventions. And what I'll do is I will transfer the book from the 2 millimeter My Lights over to a 4 millimeter My Light without a board. That way you can look at the front and the back and be able to see the art on both sides. The 4 millimeter My Lights are awfully sturdy enough, and they will protect your book. They're not quite as sturdy as with a board, but I feel comfortable keeping them in a box or having them displayed that they're not going to get bent. They're really a strong bag. I also find that the 4 millimeter lights take up a little bit more space in my comic book boxes, and that's just because when the plastic's so much thicker that unless you want to crease the fold on the top, it pushes out against the comic behind it, so it takes up a little bit more room in the thing. I find that I'm only putting them in the 4mm if I have a comic with art on the front and back, or I've had an artist do a sketch cover front and back, and I want to be able to see both sides of it. So this is it in a Mylar bag. These bags are neat, and especially with older books, when you put older books in these bags, they definitely pop. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's just the glossiness you get from having them in these Mylar bags, but they definitely pop. And like I said, I'll leave a link to the boards, the bags, and the tape I use down below in the show notes. My next book I'll be bagging and boarding is not a blank cover I normally go after. The blank covers I like to get are a lot like the No Justice cover. Simple covers. Simple logos that don't take up a chunk of the book. This next one, Grim Tales of Terror, #1, Volume 4. There is a huge chunk of this blank cover just taken up with the logo. I would never usually buy a book like this. However, this particular style of the way they did this invokes the 50s, 60s horror books that used to come out. And I like that. This will be an exception to the rule that I have, where you get to see the cover. I have no idea what I'm going to use this with. I'm such a Transformers fan that generally what I try to do when I pick out my blank covers is how can I have an artist create a cover for me, a sketch on this cover that incorporates the title of whatever the book's about with Transformers, which has been a challenge. So I have no idea how I'm going to do anything with that related to Transformers, or if I'm going to start straying away from strictly Transformers themed sketch cover ideas and just do something a little more scary for this one. We'll see, I guess. So this is the Grim Tales of Terror bagged and boarded in the Mylar bag. I noticed that this one did not have a blank on the back. It's just an advertisement on the back of the comic. So this is just a front sketch cover only. It's worth noting. So next up is a book that I first found out about from my friend Daryl on the Transmissions podcast. He got this book last week. It's Doctor Strange issue 50 with the holofoil cover there. This is not a new book. This is a 90s book. But man, when I saw this, when he showed this off, I had to have this. Something about this cover just screamed at me. So I had to have it. And I scoured my local comic book store, couldn't find it. I did find it in a sports card store in town. They had 3 or 4 short boxes full of comics, just really random stuff. And as I dug through it, I saw this cover. It's immaculate. And I had to steal it from him. I had to buy it from him. So let's bag and board this guy and see how it looks. There we go. That is a beautiful cover. I noticed after I took it out of the cheap bag it was in, this little line across the bottom. And I don't know if that's normal, if that's a printing defect, or yeah, so I need to look into that a little bit more. You know, I was collecting this just because it was cool. I don't think that's going to bother me too much. But man, it's just a really cool cover. I might have to figure out how to do a sketch cover homage for this one. This is that cool to me. I had to have this after I saw it for the first time. So yeah, Doctor Strange issue 50, guest starring Ghost Rider, Hulk, and Silver Surfer. Pretty cool. So next up, got another blank cover. I love the blanks. We got Captain America. This is a simplistic cover, simplistic blank. The logo is a little big, but it's simplified. There's nothing crazy about it. I like these kind of covers. It's a simpler logo for Captain America than previous blanks, especially the ones I have, and you can do a lot with it. I feel. I know that artists I've interviewed at conventions absolutely hate how big some of these logos are on these blanks, and how it just makes it so they've got no room to work And that's why I always strive to find the blank covers that the logo is a minimalist cover. It's out of the way as much as possible. This is a front and back blank. The back contains the issue number. It's issue 700. It was $6. So yeah, good condition. Let's bag and board this guy. And there we go, Captain America blank 700. Love it. Love how beautiful and clean this looks. I can't wait to get something done on this guy. Next up, I've got the Punisher Summer Special, issue number 1. I have a near complete original Punisher run of comics. I've just got a few I'm missing. I've never read them before. I'm looking forward to it. I have I'm kind of a new fan to the Punisher. I've enjoyed the movies. I've enjoyed the Netflix series, and what was it? Daredevil season 2 was really good with the Punisher. Like, I really like this character. I like the stories that the movies and that the series is telling. So I'm hoping to learn a little bit more about the Punisher. I hope it's not too. I hope that his motives and whatnot are not too far off from what we've seen on TV. So yeah, this is one I didn't know existed. I don't know if there's more to this series, but since I'm almost done with the original Punisher run, I'm kind of collecting some of these outside books outside the Punisher run because I know some of them intertwine with the actual story from that run, and I want to have as much of that as possible when I sit down to actually read these books. So yeah, let's bag and board this guy up. So here's the Punisher Summer Special number 1, all bagged and boarded. And I think the comics look a little bit more crisper in these archival bags. Next up, we have another blank cover. You guys catching on here? I love my blank covers. Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers number 1. Again, had to get this because the logo was so clean. The sketch cover is so clean. The book information is out of the way. It's also an outlined logo, and I've had a couple of artists who like to have the artwork go over the logo or go into the logo, and this just makes their job so much easier. So yeah, let's bag and board this guy. So the Avengers book, this is outside the bag. The Avengers book does have a barcode on the back. That's the only marking on the back of the cover. I know some artists, depending on the artwork you want, if you want front and back, they can cover that up and you won't see it. And here's Earth's Mightiest Heroes in an archival grade bag. Next up, this is another find I found at the card shop. This is Sleepwalker number 3. And my attachment to Sleepwalker is that he's a character created and written by Transformers artist and writer Bob Budiansky. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Budiansky essentially wrote most of the first 50 issues of the original Marvel 80s Transformers comic. This was a series he got into that he created afterwards, and I haven't read any of them, but I'm a fan of his Transformers work, and I always wanted to give Sleepwalker a try. So I'm slowly putting together that collection. There's not very many issues in that. I want to say it's under 50. I'm not entirely sure, but I keep a little spreadsheet on Google Docs, so when I go into a comic book store, if I come across a Sleepwalker run or the Punisher run, I could check on my list and see where I'm at and what I need to buy instead of accidentally buying 2, which I have done before. So as I'm bagging and boarding Sleepwalker issue 3, issue 3 is a relatively early issue of a new series, and this cover is incorporating the X-Men, it's incorporating Thor, we've got Fantastic Four represented here. It's pretty interesting. Iron Man and Human Torch, She-Hulk. We've got a lot of people into this. I wonder if it's a massive crossover. It's interesting that it's issue 3. It's reminding me that issue 3 of the original Transformers run had Spider-Man in it. So maybe it's not such an odd thing for a new series to pull in other characters from more popular books to help boost its sales. Also, I found at the card shop Sleepwalker issue number 4. Let's bag and board this guy. And here it is in the Mylar bag. Just makes it pop. It just looks beautiful. Next up, we have one I found at my comic book store, not the card shop this time, but the comic book store this last weekend. This is a 64-page The Punisher Back to School Special, issue number 2. Didn't have this one, I don't have number 1, but yeah. Let's bag and board this guy. What's funny about this Punisher issue 2 Back to School Special is that when I was flipping through the comic book store, flipping through the box at the comic book store, and I pulled it out, the side of it, the back spine of it, is made to look like the perforated paper edges of a notebook, and I really thought this was all chewed up from a binder. It looked that good. But yeah, here it is, all bagged and boarded. Looks great. Punisher Back to School Special number 2. Now I gotta find number 1 and figure out how many more there are. Lastly is another blank cover. This is the 80-page giant Action Comics issue 1000. I've got a lot to talk about Action Comics and Superman and such, so hang on there, guys. Originally, when they announced the blank cover for this guy, it was a lot dirtier looking. It had way more stuff going on the cover than what we ended up actually getting at the stores, and I'm glad for that. It's way more minimalist. I've been looking for a minimalist Superman blank that I could use, and this definitely fits the bill. DC is not good on the minimalist blanks at all, and this is kind of annoying, but I have to live with it. This is the best one they've put out, and as far as DC blanks go, I own so few, and this is one of them. It is a thick book. It is not stapled. It's 80 pages. You can see it's not stapled, but it does fit in the standard My Light 2's bag and board. Again, if I have a front and back drawn on this guy, I will put it in a My Lights 4, a 4 mil bag, so that you can see the front and the back. It's a snug fit, but it does fit in the bag. And there you go. Now, I'm one of those people that wasn't a fan of DC's decision to reboot and do the New 52. I checked out as a DC comic book buyer at that point, as far as having a subscription or a pull list of any of them. Superman in particular, Superman, I never liked the new suit. I didn't like the reasons behind why they went to the new suit. Now, nothing against anybody who does like it. This is just me. This is my own personal opinion and taste. You can love the New 52 Superman. You can like this new the new suit where they brought the trunks back, but they left the what is it, the wrist cuffs and the funky boots. Like, that's fine. It's totally fine. And I even understand that this current Superman now is from the old pre-52 universe. He through storyline spoilers, he came into what we have now for DC. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't think it was, personally, again, I'm not calling out anybody that is a fan of this stuff. I'm not saying that your opinion doesn't matter. Your opinion absolutely does matter. This is just my own personal one. But you know, the New 52 look and the reason behind it doesn't fly with me personally. And the fact that, you know, with Action Comics 1000, they're kind of admitting the whole New 52, especially the look, was a mistake. We're putting the trunks back. Why do you have to keep the cuffs? Why do you have to keep the boots all messed up? Well, just there's no aspect of the New 52 I, as a fan, and I know several other people, just aren't a fan of. Like, give it up. Like, you tried. Say you're sorry. Go back to the old look and be done with it. But that's just me. That's my own personal opinion. Please let me know what you think. I'd be curious. Like, I really have been checked out of DC books since New 52. So if you want to leave me a comment and try to convince me, by all means. I don't have a very big pull list from week to week, more like month to month. I would like to have more books to read, And let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought of this first episode of Bagged and Board. Should I do another one? Do you have any questions you want me to answer? Let me know what you think. I'm be happy to. I'm probably going to give this another shot, another 2 shots, see how it goes. I can't promise it'll be weekly. It'll be as I have books to bag and board with you. But yeah, let me know. Thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.